Alright, so we just learned about using the trim command and then utilizing the text command. You should have went ahead, finished your title block so it's complete with all your text. You drew your inch bar. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to copy our completed title block out of model space and then put it on our layout tab. To do that, first we're going to be on the construction line layer. We're going to draw a line. That way we can locate the center of our title block. Now, we're not just going to do the copy tool, or we're not just going to type in CO or type in copy it in the command prompt down here. We're going to have to copy to the clipboard in order to paste it to our layout tab. Just like in Microsoft Word or something, when you copy and paste it to the clipboard, that will allow us to work between different tabs. If we just copied it here in model space, we could only manipulate it here in model space and not in paper space. So I'm going to select the entire title block. I'm going to right click. I'm going to go to clipboard, and then I'm going to copy with base point. And then I'm going to select this midpoint as my base point, and it's now copied to the clipboard. I'm going to go to my layout tab. Now you can see this white space is the representation of an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. This dashed border inside here, this is the printable area that the printer will print without the margins, without affecting the margins. You can see I have this is called your viewport. So I just select that rectangle there. That's my viewport. The viewport allows you to view what's in model space. The layout tab is considered paper space because that's where you're actually taking what's in your model space and you're kind of scaling it down to fit on the piece of paper. So when you go to print it off, it'll be at the designated scale that you're going to assign it to. So first things first, we're not going to mess with the viewport just yet. We are, however, going to take another construction line. So we'll draw a line still on the construction line layer. And this is the one part of AutoCAD where you don't get real exact. That's pretty close. You can see I'm at 10.5003 by 8.0038, which I know the size of my title block is 10.5 by 8 because that's what we drew it as. And then my cursor is lined up as best as I can with those dashed lines. So I'm just going to click there. And I'm going to come down here. I'm going to click here. Try to line it up as best I can with those dashed lines. And now I'm going to, maybe I can move this. Let's see if I can move this out of the way a little bit. Alright, so there's my paper space. Now I'm going to right click, I'm going to go to clipboard, and I'm going to paste, alright? And remember I used that midpoint, and so I'm going to select the midpoint of that construction line that I just drew. And then I can delete both of these construction lines. And you can see it, for the most part, it lines up. My border lines on the outside of my title block, for the most part, line up with that dashed line. It's good enough for all intents and purposes of what we can do. Now my viewport, I want my viewport to be inside this drawing space of my title block, not down in here where I have text. So I'm just going to click on this node. I'm going to just drag it over to that corner. And then I'll do the same with this node. Drag it over to that corner. And now my viewport is inside my drawing space of my title block. So if I double click here, you can see now my viewport's active, and I can zoom in and out of what's in my model space, which my title block that I drew is still in my model space. But see how I'm affecting my model space and I'm not affecting my paper space? That's because I'm inside of that viewport. So I'm going to double click over here. Make sure that the viewport is on the 0 layer. No, I don't want to change the color. Make sure it's on the 0 layer, because we don't want that line, that rectangle, to print. We just want what's inside being viewed to print. So there you go. Now your title block's complete. The last thing you're going to do, you're going to go back into model space. You're going to delete your title block. So we'll go, so now nothing is there. We're going to rename this as our A paper. So we'll just do inch A. Since this is, the units are in inches. And then the next we'll come in, we'll do our B size paper, and we're going to save this as a drawing template. So we do save as, carried over, drawing template. So you see drawing template right here. And then this is going to be just saved as your last name. So my last name's Bernardus, drawing template, make sure it's a DWT, hit save. Yes, I'm going to replace it because I had an old one in there. Now, when I go to open a new drawing, instead of using the default AutoCAD template that we started with, the acad.dwt, you're going to select your drawing template. So I'm going to open my drawing template. There's my title block. Now I go into my model space, and then if I start drawing objects, it's going to appear on my inside my viewport, which zoomed in, so I'm gonna have to fix it. So I'll just double click. I'm gonna do zoom. So I'm gonna type Z in the command prompt for zoom, hit enter, and then it's gonna ask for a couple different subcategories. I'm just gonna do extent. So hit E for extent, and it's going to zoom in and show what I have drawn in my model space. Later on we'll come back, we'll talk about scaling, what scale it should be at, and how to scale your objects or your drawings accordingly, and then adjust your title block accordingly to represent that scale. And that's it for now.